My name is Jason Gay. I'm a columnist here at the Wall Street Journal, and I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker. Paris Hilton has always been an early adopter of new platforms, from unscripted reality TV to audio content to the TikTok. One of the original influencers, maybe the first of them all, she joins us now to talk about how she's using her social channels to continue to build her media empire. Thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much. So great to be here.
I want to get into all the new stuff that's happening. You got a new TV show that I got announced today. We want to get to the NFTs, all this stuff. But before I get there, I want to talk about your film, the documentary, which came out last year. This is Paris, which, I watched again last night, and it was a rather revelatory look at your life, where you talked about a lot of things in your past that had not been discussed prior to this. Mm-hmm. And in the process of doing this, it sort of felt like you were, lifting away Paris Hilton, the character, and giving us the true, real person underneath. And I'm curious, since that film has come out, and I believe something like 20 million people have watched it, mm-hmm. what the reaction has been like, and what it's been like to move about the world now that you have put this all out there.
Thank you. Well, it's been just one of the most empowering times of my life. Revealing so much and being vulnerable for the first time and truly showing who I was and, discussing so many personal and traumatic experiences that have happened to me over the years. It was very difficult to do, but it's been such a healing experience. And I was very nervous and I had no idea how the world was going to react. But it's just been overwhelming with love and support, and now just really using my voice to make a difference. And I just helped pass a law and a legislator in Utah a few weeks ago, and this is the first step. So it's just amazing from really telling my story, what an impact it's made. And I'm just so proud, and I feel that finally the world understands me, and I've never been in a better place in my life. So I'm just so grateful for doing that documentary, and for Alexander Dean, the director, really making me open up in ways that I never thought were possible.
The legislation you speak of, this was the state of Utah coming in and passing legislation that would make it a lot easier for the state to regulate these kinds of schools, mm-hmm. where you had suffered physical, emotional abuse as a teenager. I can't imagine you would have ever dreamed that would be a bend in your life and where this would lead to, but I have to imagine it's one of the more satisfying things you've been involved with.
Definitely. I've done a lot of things in my life that I'm proud of, but this by far is what I'm most proud of, just to help make a difference in children's lives. And I just know that the little girl in me back then would be so proud of the woman that I am today.
Do you feel it in whether it's in business interactions or interactions with people you've known a long time, that people are viewing you a little differently?
Just it's like another person. I feel that for so long I was just playing this character, so people thought that I was that for basically my whole career. And now I finally feel like people respect me and look up to me, and I'm just really proud, because for so long I was just really misunderstood and underestimated, which, was because of me creating that character. I can understand why people would feel that way about me. So now for people just to know who I truly am and what I've been through is really an incredible feeling.
You are often described as the original influencer. And when I think of what social media has become in 2021, there's a huge premium on authenticity, or at least sort of some mm-hmm. version of being authentically yourself. And does this sort of what happened last year with the documentary and showing that side of yourself, your authentic, true self, did that sort of liberate you in terms of putting out what you want to put out into the world?
Definitely. It's been so liberating to finally be able to speak in ways that I never have before. And I feel that it's just such a different time right now. Like during the early 2000s, where I first came on the scene, I think everyone was about, showing this perfect life, and no one was really vulnerable. It wasn't about that at all. And now I've just seen this whole shift, especially during the pandemic, where so many people are coming out and, speaking about everything from mental illness to just, just so many things that no one would ever have talked about before. And now I just see this new generation really just leaning into that and just being real and authentic and vulnerable. And I just think it's a beautiful thing, because so many people in life go through things and they just try to hide it. And I think it's so important if you talk about it. It's just really empowering. And I really believe that saying that the truth shall set you free, for sure.
There is also a line in the film, though, where you say, I feel at times that I've created this monster. And, it's funny to think about when you were starting out, these social media channels did not exist. And now everybody is potentially a creator, is potentially their own brand. What did you mean by that when you said, I sort of created a monster here?
Well, I've always been ahead of my time. And, just basically before there was even a name or the word influencer, I was already doing it. And there's the good and bad sides about it. I think the monster that's created is just the negative parts about it. I just feel that, especially young girls today, I can't imagine being like 13 years old and having to deal with the pressures and these, beauty standards that are not even real, and just the filters and the haters and the people, trolls online. There's just so much that goes into it that's really negative. So in that way, I think, it's creating a monster. But also when I look back on it too now, I think there's a lot of positives to it because, anybody with a phone and an internet connection has the chance to make their dreams come true and build a brand with a lucrative business. So just like anything in the world, there's always the good and bad that comes with it.
I have to imagine in, the year 2000, you would have probably vastly preferred having your own Instagram channel to having the paparazzi attention. And, we had the weekly tabloids, the Us Weeklies and so on at the time. You probably would have enjoyed having something where you could go directly to your fans.
Definitely. I think that people in the industry today are so lucky that they can finally be able to use their voice, because back when I started out, we had no social media, so the media was the one, basically writing my narrative and my story, and I could never really stick up for myself or say the truth. And nowadays, everybody has an open channel to the world where they can tell their story and not have someone else telling their narrative for them. So I think it's an amazing time right now to be a creator, and I wish I had all this technology back in the day.
I love this line from your sister, Nikki, where she says, Paris's brand is a lot more glamorous than she is. She's actually a person who likes to scrapbook at home with her dogs and eat leftovers. She's very normal. Is this an accurate representation?
Yes. I think, with the public and how I portray myself, it's not like who I really am at home. I'm actually just really chill. I'm a tomboy. I like leftovers and scrapbooking, and I'm actually a homebody, which I've really learned this year, because usually I was traveling over 250 days out of the year, and now just being home so much during this time, I've realized that I'm actually not an extrovert. I'm a secret introvert.
You mentioned how much time you spent on a road, and really it's been the past couple of decades have been largely spent on the road for you, in airplanes and hotel rooms and other parts of the world. Having this basically forced time at home, has it shifted any priorities in your mind in terms of the things that you want to do when things are starting to trickle back to normal, but when things really resume, do you think you're going to treat it a little differently than you did in the past?
100%. Just this whole time, I've really had so much time to reflect on my life and, what is important in my life, and my priorities have shifted in so many ways. Being in an incredible relationship, being engaged now, like finally feeling like a grown-up, and just not having FOMO anymore. I think before I literally needed to be at every event around the world, no matter what. It was just nonstop. And now, since I've had this, forced time at home to pause, I'm realizing that I actually love being at home, and I can work from home and get so much done, especially with Zoom. Before I would have to travel or, just wasting a lot of time with that. And now I could literally do 20 meetings in one day, all on Zoom. From now on, I'm just going to be a lot, pickier about what I choose to do, and just know that I don't need to be at every single event. I can actually chill at home sometimes.
Are you sleeping better? That's one of the dramas of the documentary, is that your insomnia that just has been omnipresent in your life.
I'm finally sleeping, and I no longer have nightmares. And I really just have to say that's because of the film. And finally, holding that all in for so many years is, I think, the reason why. And now that I'm making a difference and actually using my voice, I think that has just been so healing, where I don't even have any nightmares anymore and I'm sleeping soundly every night. So that's been such a huge change for me, to actually be able to sleep and not have those terrifying nightmares anymore.
Yeah. You alluded to it a moment ago, but you have some news not just in your personal life, but also with television.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the TV news that came today? You're going to be partnering on a television series with the Peacock network called Paris in Love. What can you tell us about it?
I'm so excited, and we just announced it today. So yes, the title is Paris in Love. And I've just loving working with Peacock team. They are amazing, and so excited to have reunited with Mike Darnell. We did The Simple Life together, and now I just signed a deal where I have my own production company with Warner Brothers called Slivington Manor Entertainment. And it's just going to be a show about just the whole journey for the wedding, like planning it, the dress, the bachelorette party, the wedding, just basically the whole journey of this time in my life. And I just wanted to share it with the world. And I'm also going to be producing some other content with them as well. And just, I'm very excited for this next phase in my life.
I have to ask you this. You are a professional DJ. Are you going to go with the band or go to DJ for the wedding?
A lot of people have asked me that. I think for my wedding, I'm going to be so stressed out that I probably will have other people be DJing. I've had a lot of my friends calling me saying, like, I want to DJ your wedding. So I have a whole list of people who want to do it. So I think I'll take the night off that night and just be the bride.
Maybe call in a few requests, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned working with Mike Darnell, who, as you said, you joined originally with on A Simple Life. Did this take some convincing? You've lived your life on camera. You know what the reality television experience is like. You know what putting that out into the world can be like. Did this take some convincing of you to go behind the cameras and invite them into your life again in this manner?
Definitely. It's been years and years of people offering me different shows and sending me different concepts, and I've turned everything down. But for this, I feel that after my documentary, it just ended in a way that really didn't have an ending. And I was in such a different point in my life, even though it was only like a year and a half ago. But I was single, I was sad and just not in, a good place. And now I've just never been happier. And I really want my fans and everyone to see that I did finally get my happy fairy tale ending and just showing the next part of my life. So I just feel now I'm an open book. I've put it all out there. I have nothing to hide. And I'm just so proud of how everything is today. And I just feel like my fans would really enjoy just seeing this, really like going to be the most special moments of my life.
Another platform that you're getting into, in Paris, everybody's getting into this. This is the
Yeah.
podcasting. Okay, you have a podcast now. This is Paris. You've had guests. You've had an amazing guest list so far. You've had Sir Richard Branson, Amy Schumer, Katie Couric, Whitney Cummings, on and on. Do you like this platform too? Because it gives you, you're literally, it's your voice, just your voice. There's no video component to it, I don't think. Is it fun that you can show this different side of yourself as well?
I love it. I'm having the best time. I love working with iHeartRadio, and not only do I have my own podcast, but I have my own podcasting company called London Audio. So I'm going to be producing other podcasts as well and giving others a voice and a platform. And I've just been interviewed over the years probably a million times. So I love now that I get to turn the tables. I get to be the one interviewing and really have a safe space for my guests to come on and talk about anything. Because just over the years of doing interviews, I used to be so nervous and be on the edge of my seat. Like, oh my God, what are they going to ask me next? Are they going to be mean or ask me a weird question? So I want to really make a space for people to come and feel safe and know that it's still going to be positive. We're going to have a great time. And I'm just learning so much about everyone. And I never even listened to a podcast before the pandemic. And now I love this because with a podcast, you can be doing other things at the same time. Like I could be doing my art or just doing business and then while listening to it. So I love this just new form of entertainment.
You're also playing with the form a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, with this, version of it called like pod posts, I think is the
Yes.
term, where you use these like smaller, more atomized kind of podcasts. Every podcast I listen to, Paris, is like 9.5 hours long and about basketball. But you're doing some really quick ones that can just be easily digestible. Why do you think there's an opportunity there for those kind of shorter listens?
Well, I invented something called pod posts. So basically, during the middle of the week, I'll release something and it's shorter content. And it's just whatever's happening right away. Like if something happens that day, I'll put it out that day. So I feel like for the consumer, people are going to want to have something, maybe they don't have time to listen to an hour podcast, but making it like kind of bite size and really in the moment, something that's happening that day is sort of like bringing social media to podcasting. And no one has done it yet, but I'm sure just being the trailblazer and pioneer that I am, we'll be seeing other people doing pod posts soon.
All right, now I'm going to get you in trouble. You got to give me a dream guest or two. If you could just, you must have a list somewhere tucked away of if I could get anybody on my podcast. Give me a couple of names.
I would love, I don't know if she's done a podcast before because she's such a queen, but Madonna, 'cause she's always been, just since I was a little girl, I've just been obsessed with her. And I think Lady Gaga would be so much fun. And I love Dua Lipa as well.
Well, that'd be great. All right, let's talk a little bit more broadly. We are the Wall Street Journal here. We want to talk more broadly about entrepreneurship. And I think at last count, you're involved with something of, 19 different brands. You have a fragrance, career that has something like 3 billion in sales internationally. You're quoted in your film as saying that $1 billion for you is a goal, and then you'll relax. Okay, we've just been through this crazy pandemic and so on. Is that still a goal, or have things changed a little bit?
Like I said, my priorities have changed. And I think I said that back then because I wasn't really happy in my personal life. But now that I feel like my heart is so full, what's more important to me is having a family. And, my business is going incredibly well. So I'm not worried about that at all. And I care more about having babies than billions.
All right. Well, maybe we could just make the billions in crypto and NFTs. So let's pivot over to NFTs, because you are somebody who has been very bullish on NFT business, and I'm somebody who still needs a primer on non-fungible tokens. I sort of understand it. It's creators monetizing their work, but I don't totally get it. You, on the other hand, have jumped straight into it. Yeah. What's the simplest way to explain what's happening right now in this world?
Well, I actually discovered NFTs a very long time ago because I think right now it's really blown up. I had no idea it would accelerate it the way it has. But my first NFT was in March of 2020, which I did for charity. And then I just really started diving into it and trying to learn everything there is to learn about it. And yes, it is confusing in the beginning when you are learning about it. But I think the easy explanation of it is it's basically anything from art to sports to music, basically like almost any type of art form you can think of, but made in a digital world. And I love that it really gives power back to the creator, because before, with artists, it was all about, getting it into an art gallery or, even being a music artist. It was about if the record label really wanted to promote you. And now it's more about just having this huge platform online where anybody really can rise to the top. And also just giving them, royalties every time their piece is sold. That was never possible before in the traditional art world. But now anytime something is resold, they will get their royalties for it. And it just really gives power back to the creator. And I think, kids today they're so used to having everything digital. So, everything from, basketball playing cards to music to art. So it's just something that they've really become accustomed to since a young age. And now I just really feel that everything is moving digital. So why not art?
You know the art world well prior to all this, and you know that it can be a rather volatile economy, of course. Do you think that NFTs are very much here to stay?
I really do. I think definitely this is just the beginning. and the possibilities are really endless. And I'm speaking to a lot of leaders in the space about some super exciting projects and just getting involved in the metaverse and just virtual fashion. And it blows my mind. Every day I'm learning new things, and this is definitely just the beginning. There is so much more to come. It's very exciting.
Paris, we have a video question from somebody who is part of the event who has sent in a question we want to air for you right now. I think they have it queued up, if I'm not mistaken. Just pause here for a second.
Hello, 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 hello. My name is Tanya Tama, entrepreneur and African influencer. My question goes to Paris Hilton. I am your fan, by the way. I would love to understand what kind of agencies in the beginning of your career did support you to achieve the position where you are today. And for me in particularly, I would love to understand how can I expand my brand from Africa to United States? What kind of recommendations and suggestions do you have? Glad to have you.
Thank you for your message, and you're beautiful. And for me, when I first started out my career, I actually had no agency, no stylist, no publicist, no manager, nothing. I literally did this all on my own without any social media or anything. And nowadays with technology, anything is really possible, where, even if you're all the way in Africa, you can use your platforms to just shoot all around the world where everybody can see you. So I think with what you're doing, it's important just to get that content and really pay attention to all your socials, from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. I know it's a lot, but if you really put the time into it and really build that fan base and just get your name out there, get your face out there, I think that anything is possible and your dreams can come true. And I'm sending you so much love and good vibes and wishing you the best of luck in the world. Love you.
Let's go to, like you mentioned, all these platforms, and there are a significant number of them. And I know you're on all of them, but what is your relationship like to your phone these days? Are you trying to break up a little bit with your phone? Are you still on your phone? You talk about this in the film as well.
Addicted to my phone. I have actually 3 phones, so I'm on them all the time. It's just there's so much to do, and I am running so many businesses, and obviously everything, being digital and online, it's just where I'm at. I'm on my computer and my phone, not 24/7, but probably like 18/7. It's just super important just to stay on top of everything. And even though I have a team that's incredible that helps me with everything, I'm the CEO of the company. So I always just want to be making sure 100% with all of my businesses and brands that everything is just, running smoothly and going the way I want it. So even though I wish I could put my phone down sometimes, I can't.
You ever try to put it in one of those like storage tanks with the lock on it for 5 hours or anything like that?
Yeah, I actually bought one of those that like has a timer on it and like won't let you open it. And then after like 5 minutes, I was like literally trying to like break it open with a hammer. So it didn't work.
To go back to where we were at the top, I mean, the character of Paris Hilton is still a costume that you wear. It's still, I don't know if it's your alter ego or how you would characterize it, but it's still part of your life. And do you imagine that you always have these sort of 2 personalities?
I think for sure, just because I've been doing the character for so long, and it's just part of my brand and my persona. But I think people now understand that I'm in on the joke. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not a dumb blonde. I'm just very good at pretending to be one. And I feel like it's, part of that character is very fun and carefree and playful. So, and I'm a shy person. So sometimes I just go into that character as almost like a mask because I feel less shy when I know that I'm just playing someone else. So yeah, I think it'll always be a part of me.
Can it be an escape, sometimes?
Yeah, I think so. I think, it's just kind of this fantasy world where when I created it as a teenager, just going through very traumatic experiences, it was an escape for me back then. And even now when I do it, it's just kind of like this fun, playful thing that I do. So it kind of just, I don't know, it's a good way just to like be someone else sometimes.
So I want to end here with a question about your home city. Now, I know you've been in LA for a long time, and LA is a huge part of your life, but I will always think of you fundamentally as a New Yorker. And this city, like a lot of cities, has been knocked around the past year and a half, and there's a lot of people trying to bring the city back and bring back the energy. And I'm not sure the last time you were here, but there's a lot of people on the streets now. The restaurants are getting full again. What is your prediction for New York City? Would you bet on your city?
Definitely. I was born in New York. I am a New Yorker at heart forever. I have my place there in Soho, which I have not been to since last February for my big birthday party there. So I miss New York so much. I'm coming back in a few weeks. So I cannot wait. And it's one of the most exciting and just incredible cities in the entire world. So it is coming back now, and it will be back in full force. And yes, I love New York.
Do you feel the energy coming back to Los Angeles as well, too?
Definitely. I think, now that people are getting vaccinated and people are starting to go out more, things are starting to open up. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I feel like the world is going to come back, to kind of a normalness, hopefully very soon. But I see it coming.
But you yourself intend to slow down the pace a little bit, not 250 days on the road a year next time.
Definitely slowing down and just enjoying some home time. Definitely not going to be in Ibiza for months out of the summer. I've totally changed my entire schedule.